Hello, welcome to Ring Takes here. Of course, I'm joined by Brian and Lewis here, and there's a lot of news to cover. Obviously, Raw happened on Monday night, but big event happening in Boston tonight as we are recording. Big business, AEW Big Business at the TD Garden tonight, and there was a special debut as we start episode 54, Mercedes Mone Big Business and Raw recap here. But let's get right into it with
CEO. CEO.
Let's get into Mercedes. Why does that keep going off? Let's get into Mercedes Mone AEW debut, coming out to a standing ovation in the TD Garden, making her long-awaited wrestling return from ankle injury, from wrestling in New Japan and doing a couple things over there. Finally coming back stateside, making her debut. What do you guys think about her entrance? What do you guys think about what she had to say in her return to professional wrestling?
So I guess I'll start this off. Well, it's great to have her back in professional wrestling now, back on our live TV. She debuted a brand new song, as you guys heard me singing the lyrics. The CEO chant. I mean, she came out to that. She came out, looking like her last name, looking like money. Came out with the gold shoes and the little white dress that she had on. So presentation wise, she definitely looks like the top star that AEW has now signed. She came out, she cut a promo about why she's back. Talked about. Kind of gave a little story about her journey, how she started in chaotic wrestling in Attleboro, I think she said North Attleboro, North Andover, my mistake, and how she got to this point. She had some of her emotional points, talking about taking care of her brother, and then she pretty much just said that she looks at the roster, she's looking forward to challenging the women. She has big expectations moving forward. Essentially, pretty much your standard promo. She is going to. I feel, and some people don't feel this way, but I feel as though she is going to make an impact on AEW's women's roster. Because as far as I'm concerned, she's the most mainstream female talent that they have on their roster right now. She had the part-time role in The Mandalorian. I mean, obviously, it's well known that she's a Snoop Dogg's cousin. And in the podcast that she recorded during the week, she talked about dipping her fingers in both movies. She has a couple film projects that are coming up she couldn't talk about, and she talked about releasing music this year. So outside of the wrestling bubble, she is the most mainstream talent. And I know some people will look at it and say, well, AEW's target audience is the niche diehard wrestling fans. So what does it really mean if she's mainstream? Well, there goes one of the issues that I believe that keeps AEW from progressing forward is they focus on that niche diehard wrestling audience instead of trying to grow the company outside of that, because those wrestling fans will always be there because that's what they love. But I'm gonna make a little analogy about what I'm afraid of, though, for Mercedes Mone. And Daniel, you being the basketball guy, you'll get this. I'm afraid that she's gonna end up being the Jordan Poole of the AEW women's division. Let me explain. I know it's kind of a poor analogy, but let me explain. This is what I'm afraid of. So we all know Jordan Poole, championship year in Golden State. You got Steph, Clay, and Draymond around him, and it looked like Jordan Poole was going to be the future of that Warriors team. At least that's what the plan was, right? You got Steph, you got Clay, you got all this talent around you, so nobody's really focusing on you, which allowed him to grow. I mean, for God's sakes, they were considering calling him the third Splash Brother at one point. Mm-hmm. But then here, issues with Draymond, he ends up getting traded, going to Washington. And what's Washington think? Oh, we're going to build the future of our team around this guy. Now, Daniel, what has Jordan Poole done this year?
Absolutely jack zero shit. Nothing. Yeah, terrible Jack in Washington.
He's been absolutely terrible. I mean, the way the season started, you seen videos of him, like blowing his nose on a towel, throwing it toward the teammate, telling him, this is my team now. I run this now, thinking just because he won the championship with Steph and them that like he's the guy now. and it impacted him. So that's why I'm kind of afraid from Mercedes Moné's standpoint, because as great as she was as one of the 4 horsewomen, there never was a time where like she was the top woman there. There was always Charlotte. There was always Becky when she got hot. Now she won championships, but it always seemed as though, because Charlotte was around and Becky was around and others were around, that she never was the top woman. I mean, she had all of those title reigns, and first title defense she would lose for a long time. So now you take the mainstream
I wonder why
into AEW, and now people are looking at her like, "Oh, well, you're the top, or you're the top woman in the division. You're the top woman in the division right now. So now you got to show out. I mean, now you're in the quote unquote secondary company, but you're the most mainstream. So therefore, you kind of have the pressure on you to kind of elevate the women's division now. And I don't want there to be a situation where she kind of falls flat because of that. And we kind of learn, like how Jordan Poole is in Washington, that like she's just not that girl to carry your brand. So that's the analogy I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on the other hand, I am hopeful.
Someone has to be optimistic.
Of course, I don't need all this negative about stuff we don't know that's gonna happen.
That's my only worry.
You see, look at how everybody thought it was so great. Look how everybody thought it was so great. CM Punk, which I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people that he finally came back, obviously from the 8 years he was gone. But look how that ended. We would have never predicted that the same shit would happen to him. But at the end of the day, we all weren't there between those incidences, and it's just whatever people rumored and said happened, whatever. Anywho, I'm optimistic just because I feel, we all have discussed in the past about AEW's women's division and how literally they have like 3 stars, probably Toni Storm, Britt Baker, who I feel like isn't even on the show anymore, and
recovering from an injury. She'll be back soon.
Oh, she's injured? See, I wouldn't even know.
Yeah, she's injured.
And it's just like, that's it, And I mean, yeah, you got Saraya, but
is that 3 stars?
I'm just naming what I remember. Those people I like, I do like
Rio
I like Willow. I like
Nightingale.
Willow Nightingale. I like what's the girl from House of Black? I always forget her name.
Julia Hart.
Which I think is doing
in the women's division.
Well, I think is doing pretty good. But this is what I mean. Like, I'm hopeful that with what Mercedes has, like she said, she started the women's revolution. Brought a lot of eyes onto women's wrestling. Hopefully, she brings that to this company. Hopefully, she pushes for longer matches, building better stars. Maybe she has matches with people that we don't even see regularly, and they show out. Just kind of get the ball rolling, because she is that big of a star, and like Brian said, she is mainstream, so a lot of eyes are going to be on her and what she brings to the table. Not just what she does, but like what she does for the division. And I feel like Tony, with how good Toni Storm has been, it's kind of been like, wow, look at this. Look at her talent and look at what she's doing. But like, it kind of, after the whole like Britt Baker and Saraya stuff, I feel like things kind of went dry. But once Toni like found her character, it was just like, there's a new star. At least I'm really intrigued. So
she picked it up. She picked
up the ball, and a lot of people are like, yo, she's doing great work. And, we've all seen the character work, and it's just like, it's so unique and so like different that, it's not something you see. So I hope with her coming in, I hope she has some input as to either, and not like match structure, but just like helping to build new stuff. I feel like that's the thing, is like, we talk, AEW talks a lot about homegrown talent, but it's just like, where are the women that are supposed to be these top stars, like consistently? Like, I feel like in the beginning you had like Nyla Rose and some people, and it's like they kind of fade into the back, and then it was all bringing all these people in. And where the hell's Athena? Why is she still in the whole Ring of Honor crap? Like, I was Athena's probably one that I'm like is the biggest.
Before you continue, She is doing a kick-ass job down in Ring of Honor as the world champion.
Absolutely.
That's the reason why she's there. That's why she's there, because they need her down there. So go ahead.
And this is what I'm saying.
They need her down there. No, they need her down there. Ring of Honor, yes, they need Athena. If they take Athena away, I think there is no women's division. So
what was the last thing ever reported on Ring of Honor?
I want to let you finish, Lewis, but I feel like, just to answer Brian, I feel like there should be a reverse. I feel like they should be bringing up, isn't Mercedes Martinez down there too?
Yep.
Yes.
They should bring those women up to AEW and put the other women down in ROH to build themselves up.
Yeah.
Because we don't even see Athena. We don't.
I feel like I've seen her on TV probably like 3 times.
A couple times on Collision.
Yeah.
But,
and like she's someone who I was very hopeful, like coming in. I'm like, she should be another top star. And it's just like, come on, out of freaking what is it? Rampage, Dynamite, and then I'm like, no one is talking about Ring of Honor. There's no reason for it. You might as well just call it developmental at this point. You know,
and
it's just like,
I feel like
ROH is not made to be built.
It's not made to be that, but
Ring of Honor is specific for a specific group of wrestling fans.
But it's not even that anymore.
I understand that, but my issue with that is that Rampage is non-existent, correct? Like, who watches Rampage? Who's on Rampage? So that would be, if I'm Tony Khan, that would be the spot for ROH. Let's try to get these people some TV time. Yeah. But that's a whole nother discussion. Keep going.
Yeah. So whatever I was going back to, I just hope that, you know, with her coming in, it just brings more eyes to the women, you know, better stories, better characters. Like, I'm hopeful and excited to see what happens. So I know, like, you know, Daniel, he'll mention as well. He doesn't believe she should be there. She's too big for them. But you know what? She left to go to different promotions and do things, and I think probably AEW is going to allow her more freedom than WWE would. You know, there are rumors there that, you know, she was in talks, and, you know, there's stuff about money, but, you know, we don't really know what happens there. But obviously, AEW is the right fit for her now. I definitely see her going back to WWE and probably finishing her career there. But for now, I hope she brings, you know, a positive change to the women's division in AEW.
Okay. Both of you guys said very, very good things. This is how I feel about her debut. Obviously, I've been voicing for months, I don't want her to go to AEW. Obviously, it was written on the wall that she was going to AEW, even before Tony Khan announced Big Business, that she was going to AEW, because it just felt like, with the transition of WWE right now, where you have all these women, even in NXT, just the talent that they have, that she will come back and get lost in the shuffle, unfortunately. As Brian was saying, how as big as she is, she wasn't the main person in WWE. Very popular, had her own fan base, et cetera, but just wasn't that guy. And right now they have.
I wonder why.
They have I'm going to get into that. They have Rhea Ripley. They have Becky Lynch. They have all these other women on the roster. Cool, I understand. So it was obviously that she was going to go to AEW at this standpoint. Her return, very basic to me, very understandable. She talked about what she was going to be doing and her plans for AEW. Cool, understand that. She had the interview earlier in the week with, I forgot the guy's name, Mac. Is it Mac? I forgot his name. But had the interview there, and I said she didn't really say anything or allude to anything regarding her release from WWE, regarding what actually happened, because that's what we've all been waiting for. We haven't had a concrete story about what actually happened, and I thought that was a misstep, even on her part, because it's like, yeah, obviously you're trying to transition and move to AEW. No stones towards WWE, which I feel like I understand that, but it's like, we need to understand what happened in that situation, because you've been gone for what, 2-3 years now.
And small thing about that, because I'm going to say this because I saw a clip, and you guys probably saw it online too, of like a fan asking her like, "Oh, why'd you leave?" And she's like, "Why would I tell you?"
Exactly.
Like, why would I? And like, you know, I'm like, I feel like she would honestly save that for either like some type of documentary or probably a book.
A book or a documentary.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think it was stupid as hell to ask that dumbass question.
Like, no, from a fan standpoint, I understand asking the question because as a Sasha Banks fan, that's all we wanted to know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I understand did you really think she was going to tell you, though? Like, come on.
Yeah. To put it on camera is different. Yeah. The guy's name was Evan Mack. Apparently, he's a wrestling fan, reporter, commentator. He goes to the red carpets and stuff like that for wrestling. So respect to him. I just wanted to get his name, Evan Mack, before I continue. But she really didn't say anything in that interview, kind of just alluding that she's healthy. The injury kept her out, and what she's doing, as Brian said, with music and movies and film and stuff like that. So good for her in that standpoint, that she's healthy and that she's ready to go to get back in the ring. Cool, all of that. What Brian said about Jordan Poole, I think that's a misstep there because that's just the extreme, right? Like, we don't think Mercedes Mone is going to be crap in AEW, right? Like, that's obviously not going to happen.
I was afraid that would happen.
What I'm afraid, I'm going to raise you a different basketball analogy. She is Russell Westbrook, a person who was an all-star, a person who was an MVP, a champion at one point, leading the company, main evented WrestleMania, had big accolades, but had the stigma of short title reigns. You're not the main person. You've teamed up with other people and stuff like that, gone to other promotions, and it hasn't worked out great, the injury and stuff like that, and that nature. And maybe now AEW is either a combination of the back half of Russell Westbrook's career where it's been kind of up and down, or it's going to be, hey, you find your place and you find your niche and you're able to help this company grow. To answer to Lewis's point about being optimistic, I'm absolutely optimistic about that standpoint. And that's one of the things I've been saying, that she has to basically find her niche in terms of what you were saying in getting new talent over. And it just made me think of Cody Rhodes. When Cody Rhodes was in AEW for a while, and then he was just wrestling everybody, getting everybody over, that was his standpoint. And I'm just like, at this point, I understand it from that standpoint, but it's like, she can't get other people over. She has to get over in AEW because that's kind of her story. She can't be the middle of the pack. She can't do that. She can't have these random losses. It's like, to bring her there and then just to have her lose, I don't see that happening. So I hope that's not what they do. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. When I said bring people up, I kind of meant in the sense of like, when somebody has a match and even though they beat them, they're still like, hey, look, this person can go. Like,
and there's a sign of
seeing like Ricochet on Monday, like showing out, or seeing like a Chad Gable show out, but even though they lose, it's like, oh, look, they wrestled this person.
They had a good showing, yes.
They had a good showing,
But that's why I was saying kind of like Cody Rhodes, where he was wrestling like Darby Allin and all these other guys like Sammy Guevara and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. But I just hope that she does well. I've said it before that I think that her and Britt Baker should be clashing and be the women's division for at least a year and a half, 2 years until they can build everybody else up. Because Toni Storm is going to be in that shuffle, but Britt Baker is that AEW women's division. She's been gone, injury. I don't know what happened, but just in general, she's been that AEW women's division. Toni Storm has picked up the mantle from, was it Jamie Hayter, who was the champion? And Saraya and stuff like that. And they kind of fell to the background. Ruby Soho came over and really has fallen to the background. And it's like a lot of these women for AEW have fallen to the background. And it's like, especially when you got stuff like Rampage and Collision and Dynamite tonight, it's like, I don't even think if there's been a woman on the match other than Mercedes Moné. Obviously, there's going to be Rio and Willow Nightingale, obviously, on the show later. But it's like, where's the presentation for the ladies? Outside of that first 15 minutes for Mercedes Moné, I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen anything. So it's just, I hope from that standpoint, she brings a better presentation to AEW, how women can be presented, how matches can be structured, how storylines can be structured, have a little bit more of a say-so, especially with the other women in the division, to kind of help and build that women's division. That's why I'm hoping for Mercedes Moné. Even though I didn't want her to go there, I want her to be effective and good for women's wrestling. That's what she left WWE for, right? Like, to get out of that situation where it was bad, even though things are probably 10 times better now. Mm-hmm. I want her to transition into AEW and do well. That's what I want for her.
You know what I think is tough, and I think it's one thing that we forget, and probably out of the three, I mean, Brian probably watches more AEW than I do, but I think probably between me and Dan, probably the only thing of AEW we really watch is Dynamite. And if you remember, it's only a 2-hour show where compared to Raw, they could probably have at least 2 women's matches because it's 3 hours. They'll have usually a women's tag match, a women's segment, and then at least one more match. I feel like it's tough with AEW because they have such a stacked roster and probably multiple stories going on. They probably spread it out in a sense like, all right, we'll have a women's match on Diamond, a women's match on 2 on Rampage, and then we'll throw in another one on. But it's just like it's tough because I feel like people definitely aren't watching Collision on Saturday, and nobody's watching Rampage on Friday. So I feel like their main product that everybody kind of has most of their eyes on is Dynamite, and it's we can only fit so much in there because we only have a 2-hour slot.
See, and to build on top of that, Collision actually had potential. I actually still do watch Collision because they do have a lot of entertaining matchup. But as far as the women go, they don't present like the top women on Collision. I mean, you may get a Julia Hart appearance, Chris Statlander, Willow once in a while, but you don't but you don't see it. Yeah, and it's like, and if their mindset is okay, the TBS title is kind of going to be synonymous with Collision, but yet you can still bring some of your other top established women over. I know that they did use Collision to kind of keep building this Toni Storm and Diana Purrazzo feud, which is their main feud right now. So they are taking steps to kind of do what you were suggesting, Lewis, and Daniel with the women's division. I think I mentioned before we started recording how now they're doing more in-ring match promos. They're doing more promo packages, continuing to build up the feuds. So that they are trending in the right direction as far as that goes. But like you said, you got 6 hours of TV a week. 4 of them are live. Well, Collision may be live some weeks, not live some other weeks. But Rampage is taped, so you got 4 live hours of television a week. Now, some of that can be attributed to, now the reason why the women's division is probably not focused on as much.
Rio's on TV now.
Yep. Because the women's division that also goes back to how bloated the roster can be at times. I know I said now that you have Omega, who's going to come back from injury, Danielson, Ospreay, Okada. I mean, it's the deepest that the roster has been, the strongest that the roster has been as far as in ring talent goes.
Especially with all the injuries that have had.
Exactly, and all the injuries are people coming back. The guys who are hot right now, and Swerve, and Daniel Garcia, and the other guy. Like the roster is so deep, it's like they try to cram everybody into like 4 hours a week, and then the women get lost in the shuffle because of it. So definitely hope that moving forward that they something that they address.
I have 2 solutions to that. WCW, when they used to have Monday Night Nitro and stuff like that, they did a smart thing. They put the cruiserweights on to start the show all the time. All the time, and that got the crowd going, the moves and the innovation and stuff like that. To find time for these women, I understand that you want to have your promo and your opening storylines to start the show. That should be a part to showcase the women, especially with Mercedes Moné now, Britt Baker. You're having all this trouble on the roster. It's like, when are you going to find time for them? You have guys like Okada coming in. Pac has just returned. Warlord, Joe, Swerve, Hangman. MJF is going to return. So Adam Cole is going to return. So again, like, at what point are you going to find these places for these women? And I feel like right now you should be trying to find the best spot for them to get as much time as possible, because you're going to have more people returning, and then trying to figure out this card even more, which is going to be confusing because we already said nobody watches Rampage. Some people watch Collision like Brian. But mainly when I see stuff from AEW, it's on Wednesday night, either via Instagram or via clips, or I'm actually watching it in the background. So they have to find a place for these women, especially with Mercedes Moné there, especially with potential Britt Baker returning. They should be able to, that should be a number 1 priority, because everything else is already set. You already have Swerve and Hangman and Joe in that title picture. Darby Allin just went off. You have your mid-carders and stuff like that with Jay White and stuff like that. You got to find a spot for these women. That should be the number 1 priority, because if that's a selling point, if that's a hitting point where you can create new fans, especially with Mercedes Moné, with all the outside stuff, and people are taking a look right now, people are tuning in just to see her. Even if they don't watch AEW, I'm not the biggest AEW watcher, but I tuned in to see what she was going to say, what she was going to do. So this should be the chance for them to try to get this ball rolling, especially with the influx of what's happening on the card. It's like you got to establish them. You got to find a spot for them. They can't continue to be.
What? Oh, I have to cut you off. I have to cut you off right now because I just realized something. It is 9:51 p.m. What time does the Dynamite go off the
air? 10.
Yeah, or 10. I'm assuming this match is going to be overrun. I hope that they go to like 10:15. But
I thought it was 11.
As you think at this point about what they should do, their women's match is going to start at 9:52 p.m.
First of all, why do we have Chris Jericho and Hook on here? Why do we have to hear
they're
from
going to be a tag team?
Why do we have to hear from Chris Jericho being the Lionheart? Why do we have to hear from him?
Because it's Chris Jericho.
No, it's Chris Jericho.
He's Le Champion.
I mean, he's Le Champion.
He's the wizard.
He's the wizard. He's the Ocho. He's the demo guy. He has more.
Like Jeff,
he's the painmaker.
He's like Jeff Jarrett in TNA.
No, he's
always
not.
Had to be on TV.
No, he's not. Don't you dare compare.
It's over. I'm saying it right now. It's over.
No,
it's over.
Jeff Jarrett made himself world champion and was like beating everybody he shouldn't have even been beaten. So that was different. No, don't do that to Jericho, please.
I was entertained by Jeff Jarrett and TNA, but overall, they got to find more time for the women. And I understand they're main eventing, so that's something. So let's start there with that. They're main eventing. Mercedes Moné is probably going to come out and challenge Willow.
Exactly. We're technically 8 minutes left on the show. Assuming that we're going to see how much they go over.
7 minutes. So hopefully they get a good showing here. But overall, yeah, I just hope that Mercedes Moné does well. I hope that she kicks butt. I hope her and Britt Baker can have some type of classic matches that, and Thunder Rosa? Where's Thunder Rosa? Like, I'm just thinking of all the people here. Like,
Collision, isn't she?
No, she would not. She had a couple of matches on Collision. I think she's just solely the Collision now. Serena Deeb, who's another one that just came back. She's been on Collision. Had a couple of matches. Yeah, she came back from injury. See, Luce, you didn't even know she was back. See, I said something like
I don't have time to watch Collision on Saturdays, and I always forget. The only reason I wanted to watch it was for Miro, and I don't even know if he's on it.
This is what Luce is saying. I want to enjoy my Saturdays how I want to.
It's not a PLE. I'm not to watch what nothing. Come on.
I mean, to be fair, I do watch Collision after the fact, but I watch it more so to see if they carried over any stories from Wednesday. That way, when I watch on Wednesday, I'm not confused. That's more so why Wednesday. Why
do they?
Because on Rampage, they definitely don't do it. They just showcase all the mid to lower talent, and then maybe they may do a promo package here or there, but nothing really advances. Collision, sometimes they advance stories that are presented on Dynamite. So
yeah.
I don't know how it's an on in the background. I don't know how Rio wrestles. Like,
why?
When she's facing like these bigger challengers and stuff like that. Well, she's the smallest person on the roster, but it's just like the size difference. Yeah, I know but even back then, I'm just like I don't know how she's wrestled. She's good, but I'm just like it's crazy.
I mean, she's like almost like a Zelina Vega size.
But there's other smaller women in WWE though compared to her, like Liv Morgan, like she can
Candice
find
Ray.
her
I mean, like they're the same stature.
Yeah. But it's just it's crazy to me. It's just crazy. The size difference always gets me. But hopefully Mercedes Moné can continue to do good things and get off to a good start in AEW. We'll see how that plans out. We all think that she's going to come out after this match, so we shall see. Let's move on to Monday Night Raw here. Lots of stuff happening, coming off the slap from the Cody Rhodes to The Rock on SmackDown, which we'll get into in a little bit. But I wanted to start off with probably the hottest star in wrestling right now, in my opinion, Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins showdown. Drew McIntyre just continuing to cut promo after promo after promo against Seth Rollins, against CM Punk, and keeping this thing alive because it's kind of falling in the background with all this bloodline stuff. To have Drew McIntyre there, what do you guys think about his promo and Seth confronting him?
I mean, I think on this topic, we're all pretty much going to reiterate what we said last week about how great Drew is. And I mean, again,
he's paid. He's paid. You don't have to keep saying that.
Hey, it should have been fucking sooner. But anyway, the point is, the point is, again, Drew cuts another promo. What do I say in the chat? Yeah, Drew, because again, this man is single-handedly trying to carry this feud. Because as Daniel said, it has started to get lost in the shuffle with Cody, Rock, and the Bloodline. And when they decided to go into this direction with this tag team match, the number one fear was, people are might lose interest now in the world title, or any interest that they may have already have had with the world title. And Drew has pretty much been keeping it alive. And I love when he talks about it in the sense of, I have to represent Monday Night Raw, because clearly this guy's worried about what's going on over there, and he's not focused. He's not focused on what's going on this show like I am. Like I'm the guy that went up against him twice.
Drew McIntyre.
I'm the guy that's overseas. Exactly. You can easily make the case that he should be a babyface. You can easily make the case that he should be the babyface in this match now, because he's the one that actually cares
about
the
championship. This for a little bit now. Seth Rollins, he's got to turn heel. I was saying that for the longest time. In order to save this title run, he had to turn heel, and he's kind of the de facto heel with his actions. So,
but again, Drew McIntyre. Best character on Monday Night Raw right now. And that's over Cody. No, that's over Cody. Drew McIntyre is the best character on Raw right now.
It's so funny because, like you guys just said, he's supposed to be the heel. And it's funny because, he's doing these heelish acts, but he's also still spitting truth, which is just like,
this is why you can't argue.
But I do get the whole. I mean, the Seth stuff is tough because first of all, he's been out injured, but he's still been showing up. But at the same time, he also made a good point. He's like, dude, I've beaten you twice, which is why you're the last thing that I'm worried about. And that's why I'm like, it's true. And how many times did we say that makes sense. Won the title? So why would, as part of the story, why would Seth even be all like, oh yeah, this guy won the chamber, I'm gonna face him, but I'm working on
this. This is where bad booking comes back to haunt you. You're a loser.
But I think
this is what happens when guys that are straight edge into their late 40s, and then their muscles start breaking down. That's what happened.
But I think and I don't know. We don't work for WWE, so we can always just speculate. But I think
we'll take the call. WWE, never see anything. We'll take the call.
I think how Brian has been saying, pay Drew. It wasn't until recently that this man finally just signed a new contract. Mm-hmm. So it could have been an issue of, we heard a lot of stories about him wanting to take time off, wanting to go see his family and stuff. It could be that they finally come in and say, hey, what if we give you the title at Mania? Are you going to stay? And he's probably like, maybe I'm going to stay. It could be something as of that. But the story is still there, though. That's why I'm like, what he's saying is the truth, but then what Rollins is also saying is true, too. I'm like, bro, why I got to worry about you when I've beaten you twice already? So it's like, but still, Drew's doing great. I like his heel work. I want him more heel, but I'm also curious to see what he's going to do when he wins the title. I really, really hope he wins the title, because as much as I like Seth's run, I'm kind of.
Is he going to win the title? Is he going to win
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm really hoping that we get a title change, because, look, we haven't had any title changes in how long? From both sides. From both sides.
It's been a while. But in terms of Seth actually getting involved in the storyline, I like that standpoint for what he's saying. And it just brings to his confidence and his stature as a wrestler and what he's been able to do over the past year in terms of winning this title and carrying it, being the workhorse. He's like, yo, I already beat you. That's the biggest thing. So to finally have him say something and respond, that was nice to see. And I'm glad that this match is happening. I'm glad Drew won the Elimination Chamber. I'm glad Seth Rollins is finally coming in, finally interjecting himself into this feud. So hopefully they are able to continue this and not get lost in the shuffle. Hopefully not. Moving on to Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan, and Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley obviously intertwined in the story ultimately of Becky trying to get to WrestleMania to face Rhea Ripley. What do you guys think about the match with Liv Morgan? I'll start it off. I have been impressed by Liv Morgan's return, even though she botched that suicide dive a little bit. She's picking up for Sasha Banks there. But I've been impressed with her ring work a little bit since she's been back. So what do you guys think about the match between her and Becky? Obviously, Nia Jax interjecting. And then what do you think about the promo between her and Rhea?
Can I start? I'm just going to say one of these names does not belong.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I agree.
I don't know, man. She seems like a good person, but I'm just not sold on Liv Morgan.
She's a good person. That's the
only good thing I got to say. It's I don't know. It's just tough to see when it's just like, I don't know. I don't see that. Yes, she has the passion, but it's just like, I need a new character or some new. I know she's coming back with this whole like, everything was taken away from me. Rhea hurt me. Blah blah blah. I'm gonna come back and win, but it's just like
they have tried. They put her in multiple tag teams. They've tried the hardcore gimmick, which I didn't think fit her at all. Now she's on this revenge tour thing, and
I don't like it. It's not. I'm like, where's this gonna go? Her get a title shot against Rhea to lose again? It's like,
how do we know she's losing? How do we know? How do we know? How do you know Liv Morgan is going to rise to the occasion and be the one to dethrone Rhea Ripley? How do you not know?
Say it with a straight face that you believe that?
How do we know that Liv Morgan?
I'm asking you. Say it with a straight face that you believe that you believe she could dethrone Rhea.
There's a chance.
No,
there's
you
two
believe
competitors in every match. It's 50-50, Lewis.
You believe it.
50-50.
I'm asking you. Say yes. You believe Liv Morgan can dethrone Rhea Ripley.
She has a chance.
Yeah,
she has a chance.
Don't get statistical on me now.
She has a chance. I'm not gonna do Scott Steiner Big Papa Pump math. I'm not gonna do
no. I'd rather see Candice LeRae get a shot than Liv Morgan right
now. No.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about her too.
You know what I would like to see finally come back, and I don't know why they don't even utilize her as freaking Nikki Cross. Like, Jesus Christ, give her a match. Instead of her just walking around random arenas or in background stages. I'm like, is she injured or what?
I've been saying forever, we need her to be the Mankind of the division.
Yes.
That's what we need her to be. And I've been saying it, and I'm like, I don't know why they don't use her. She did it in NXT. So it's like, I don't understand why they aren't using her in that capacity.
She's a good, someone like Nikki Cross I could get behind. If it's not the same, just like, oh, I'm spazzing and I just want to fight. It's like if there was some more depth to that character, like
almost a superhero. Not that.
I blocked that out of my mind.
Yeah. But to talk about the match with Becky and Liv, I think Daniel has alluded to it in the chat. Liv has definitely improved her in-ring performances dramatically. It all started at the Elimination Chamber where she had a great showing there. This match, in-ring wise,
give her some credit, Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis, you gotta give her that. I mean, and you know me, when it comes to Liv Morgan, I critique her character all the time. Miss Teleprompter, I call her. So I was the first one that was critical of her. I was the first one that was critical of her on this show. So
it's funny. Because I saw the Capitol. It's funny because I saw the Capital One commercial of her and Jey Uso.
Yeah,
and she's good in it. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm just not sold yet. I'm not sold, but
it looks like
I hope they
to help.
What did Nia do? Did she come out and just attack? Did she?
Nah, because
came out after.
I know Becky challenged her for next week, but she didn't.
Becky and Liv were back. I think Becky and Liv were backstage about to shake hands, and then Nia came from behind and pretty much attacked both of them. Threw Liv into something, and then put Becky through a table. So
Nice.
And then Becky was like, "Yeah, last woman standing next week," which is interesting. I get it. You kind of gotta. I mean, you still gotta kind of have those, I guess, attractions for Raw as you're going into your WrestleMania and such. And it is a story they've been telling with Becky and Nia. I mean, Becky hasn't beaten Nia since Nia's been back. And so going into the match against she did?
Yeah.
Did Becky beat Nia? I thought that match ended in no contest because Liv got involved. And then last week, Becky got involved in the Liv, and that's what led to So I don't think she's had that definite win against Nia yet. But I think next week is probably going to be that definite win. Then building in towards WrestleMania, you could say that win will then signify that, like, yeah, she's ready for Rhea Ripley now, in a sense. So
this is my one issue with Becky Lynch.
The one
you mean the one? You sure?
The way she is booked is just so weird to me. Why is she being booked as some type of underdog?
That's her gimmick. She's
not a good gimmick. She's a Hall of Famer already.
No. She's being booked as an underdog based upon who she's going up against. Rhea Ripley's been a champ for a full year.
Rhea Ripley is basically the Roman Reigns right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
Have we not seen how Becky Lynch has been booked her whole career? Well, ever since she beat Charlotte, and started this run, have we not seen how she's been booked?
What? No,
I'm just saying they have bigged her up as the best women's wrestler out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, she's an underdog to all these people now. I understand.
Because Rhea Ripley came along, and who's bigger, better, and crosses the board and does more things than Becky did.
Sorry to say this.
You're saying is 100% spot on.
Sorry to say this.
But then here comes Rhea, who tops that. Yeah, that's why.
Sorry to say this. A lot of people are. There's a lot of people on the roster that are better than Becky Lynch. And I'm sorry. I know that's going to upset some people, whatever the case may be. But give me Asuka. Give me Bianca Belair. Give me Io Sky at this point. There's a bunch of people who I believe are better than Becky Lynch. But the way they have booked her, they got her looking like an underdog. I understand Nia Jax is probably the biggest obstacle, right, in front of her, right? Because outside of Charlotte, outside of Bianca Belair, Nia Jax is probably, again, her run has been phenomenal since she's come back. And I think she has all right to say, hey, I should be in this match some way or another. And that's why she's always butting her head. But I'm just like, I don't like the booking. I don't like the booking of Becky Lynch. Like, I understand that she's everyone's favorite and they're going to push her to the moon and all this other stuff. But it's like, I don't know. The match is intriguing, though. Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch is intriguing because obviously the story makes sense. The newcomer, the person that's on the rise versus the person who went down and tried to regain her status back. Completely understand that. Completely understand that.
I just hope with this match, because it's sounding like Nia's going to lose. And I'm like, I hope it's, either Rhea comes out and like kind of screws her or something, or it isn't like some type of clean finish, or Becky just has to do something huge,
or Liv Morgan comes out and helps her in some way. That should be that.
Yeah, it shouldn't shoot her credibility as how strong she's been looking, just to give Becky more momentum to Mania.
That she does not need. That's my problem. That's my problem. But it's going to be interesting to see how that goes forward. Obviously, Liv Morgan trying to interject herself into it, that she had to stare down with Rhea Ripley as Rhea came down for her promo with Becky. So she's still trying to interject herself, has been impressive since she's come back as well. Nia Jax has been impressive. Becky Lynch has been impressive. Rhea Ripley, of course, is Rhea Ripley. So we'll see how that continues down. But this is the main women's feud on Monday Night Raw. Let's move on to 6 tag team ladder match booked for WrestleMania. Damian Priest and Finn Balor of the Judgment Day will be defending their tag titles, undisputed tag titles, in the ladder match against 5 other teams. What do you guys think about this match? Obviously, I just got flashbacks to TLC. I got flashbacks to the Intercontinental match with Daniel Bryan. I think it was WrestleMania 31. So just looking at it from that standpoint, what do you guys think about this announcement? And potentially, hopefully, this creates some type of split. Hopefully.
Lewis, I know you've kind of been the biggest critic about the tag team titles, but if you don't mind, let me take this first.
All
right. So as far as having a ladder match at WrestleMania, I'm all for it. Because you got Money in the Bank. That Daniel mentioned, TLC. Anytime a ladder match has been a multi-man ladder match has been featured on WrestleMania, it's always over delivered. So I'm definitely looking forward to it from that standpoint, and I have high hopes. My only thing, and Daniel, you're black, Lewis, you're Spanish. So I'm just gonna go and say this. There's 12 niggas in this match, man. 12 niggas in this match, man. I mean, to me, that's 12 people and just 16, 12 people in total in this ladder match. Now, I remember WrestleMania 26. That was the WrestleMania at the University of Phoenix Stadium, and I think that Money in the Bank ladder match had like 10 guys, and that ended up being one of the weaker Money in the Bank ladder matches because it wasn't booked properly. Certain guys had certain spots, and like it was all over the place, and you could definitely see how having an overabundance of talent can sometimes limit the match. That's why whenever I've seen like multi-man ladder matches, I always felt that from 6 to 8 guys was enough because then everybody can get featured equally. Mm-hmm. I get it. They're tag teams, so technically it'll just be they'll be featured together as a tag team. Still doesn't take away from the fact that there's 12 people in the match. So that's a lot of room. So only from that standpoint is the only reason why I'm kind of a little taken aback by it. But like I said, it's a ladder match at WrestleMania. It's going to be a spectacle. It's going to over deliver, and it's hopefully it will be the beginning to the mystery of the tag team titles getting split in the near future. But I am looking forward to it.
One team grabs the red belts. One team grabs the blue belts, and that's how they split them. Innovation.
I hope my prayers are answered
at some point.
And either at Mania or the Monday after Mania, they introduce new tag titles because I'm tired and sick of looking at those blue fruit roll-up nickels or red fruit roll-up tag titles. They are hideously the worst iteration of tag titles.
That's another missed opportunity, especially how long Judgment Day has had these titles. You figured they would have just did black and purple, right?
That's also one thing.
That would have been the answer.
That's also one thing. Why is it so many times? I mean, I guess at least for the main champion, either like the Universal or whatever, like people have done their own custom titles. Like you had Daniel Bryan with the Equal title. You had Bray Wyatt's Fiend title, whatever. But it's just like all these other titles. I mean, maybe it's just too much to pull it out, but it's just like, why not get some new titles? Every other title has been rebranded, brand new. IC is probably the one I don't like the most, but it's just like, I think the US title looks great, but it's just like the tag title. You literally went from bronze to silver.
Next is gold, man. Next is gold.
Whatever. As much as but yes.
No, gold, forget about it. Silver, forget about it. It's all about platinum and diamonds.
Oh my God. It better just be one giant diamond at this point. Like, Jesus Christ. But yes, I have been preaching that the tag team division needs to be split. And it's funny because I think I heard or I was listening to somebody where they were just like, Raw has, maybe because time-wise they've been focusing a lot on the tag teams. You got DIY, you got the Creed brothers, you got, Judgment Day. The tag teams have been highlighted a lot, and I feel like on SmackDown they've just kind of been like not even more tag teams, it's been more just factions going against each other, whether it's the new Hurt Business and then Karrion Kross's new group, and then I mean you got the LWO and they got all them Phantasma and stuff. So
something has
those tag teams are there, but it's just like they need something to fight for. Yeah, they're they have their own feuds and stories that you attack me, and it's just like they need to be fighting for a prize.
I have been saying forever that they need to be split.
Yeah,
and this is where wrestling, I think, even overall, I think AEW has actually done this better than WWE, where they have their mid-card titles be the focus for a show. Mm-hmm. Like that's like have the Intercontinental title finisher, have the US title finisher of SmackDown, have the tag team titles be a vocal point of both shows that you need time and you need to fill time for. So I don't understand why the tag team division gets so neglected all the time.
Well, this is why I've always said, and probably this is why you don't need unified tag titles. Is like you have so many of these trios groups. I think a trios title would work in WWE. I don't think it would be too much just because there are so many. It's not just tag teams. It's like, look, you got Hurt Business, 3-man group. Legado Fantasma, the Phantasma, 3-man group. Judgment Day, 3-man group. Every faction has more than just the tag team, Mm-hmm. So if you got these tag titles just being held up for so long, why not introduce something that these other groups can strive to fight for instead of just like, oh, I'm fighting this group. Oh, these guys are talking crap. And
the one reason why they're not going to do it is because it's AEW.
Yeah,
New Japan Wrestling already does that. And WWE is probably like, we're not going to copy that, despite how many people we have on the roster, how many factions we have, and they pretty much have the factions for War Games. That's where I'm at right now. That's why I feel like
easily could be done.
Yeah, I just feel like that's the only reason why they have all these factions. So in case they needed something leading into War Games, they have factions already that can do it.
I mean, but I feel like the 3-man faction has been more on the rise now, because I feel like in the past it was more just tag teams, like back when it was just the Usos, the New Day,
the Ascension.
Who else? I can't. KO. Huh? Yeah, like it was mostly just tag teams. It wasn't like factions, and it's like it's been so many factions. I mean, like you got the Bloodline now. Like that could easily be like,
SmackDown champion and add to the reign, the empire of Roman Reigns. But
but either way, as far as this match goes, I'm very excited. I love ladder matches. I feel like they always go out. This is gonna be there's gonna be a lot of people involved. I hope it is safe and we don't need no mishaps.
Depends who's in it. Yeah, we don't know the teams yet.
That is true. But I think me and Brian kind of mentioned. Well, I think Brian said it, or somebody else did. It was like, Miz and R-Truth need to win those titles.
They do not.
Yes, they do. Truth needs a title.
It'd be the perfect way for them to win. Think about it. You don't beat Judgment Day. You don't pin Judgment Day.
Sorry, Nichols.
They do not need to win the titles. R-Truth needs to screw Judgment Day from winning. That's what he needs to do.
But in terms of they're going to be in the match.
Do we want to see R-Truth and the Miz face other tag teams?
Why not?
No.
Yes.
No.
R-Truth.
I wouldn't mind R-Truth taking a break from the comedy character for a second and being serious again for just a little bit.
We just talked about tag team wrestling on this podcast for over a year. And we're gonna demolish all of that for R-Truth and the Miz to face.
They were reunited tag team. They're former champs.
Yeah, but they had history as a tag team, though.
Exactly.
That's fine. That was a decade ago.
Okay, they're still known as a team. It's not like they were just thrown together. And this is the first time they're tagging.
DIY is another tag team that has been brought back together.
Not on the main roster.
No, that's
give true. DIY a chance. Give the Street Profits a chance. Give the Authors of Pain a chance.
Out of all these teams, who looks like a real viable contender? Who has been the hottest act consistently for Monday night?
DIY.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they have.
They've won like 2 matches.
They've been on
and Truth was involved in like 2 of them.
We do not need to see the R-Truth and Miz.
DIY they're kind of involved in this truth and Miz versus Judgment.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
They don't need to be the background anymore. They need to be vocal points. Who needs it more? This is what I'm talking about.
That's not what I'm arguing.
When you win titles, it's supposed to create stars. We do not need to see the Miz in R-Truth from over 10 years ago reunite and win the tag titles for some type of feel-good story, and then have them defend the tag titles to carry out some story that we do not need. The one thing that we've talked about, especially me, is when the Miz was 1-35. We do not need to see the Miz winning titles. R-Truth has not been a vocal point on television outside.
Yes, he has.
Outside of this Judgment Day storyline, he has not. He has not been winning matches. Damian Priest just beat him on Monday. We do not need to keep seeing these two guys who are mainstays in WWE, respected, Hall of Famers even. But we do not need them winning the tag titles. We do not need that.
I'm sorry. And I get everything you're saying, Dan, because you know me, I'm the one always pushing to create new stars. And yes, any of these teams, honestly, the only team that I probably think could benefit from the titles for real is the Creed brothers, because since their debut, they have been very hot. Going crazy, beating teams that you're like, and
why are they off
TV? Exactly, I don't know, but I'm sorry,
they have not been on. Mm-hmm.
DIY has just not been. I'm a huge Ciampa and Gargano fan, and more of a Ciampa fan at this point, but they've just not been hitting it for me. If anything, I'd be behind a nice maybe like out of the Phantasma. But we also don't know
anybody else should win this match except for the Miz and
I know. You gotta let me finish. You gotta let me finish. I'm all for creating new stars, but WrestleMania is too close that there isn't enough time to really have these teams stand out. No one has been standing out recently.
Put it on anybody, and then have them go from there.
Let me finish. To be fair, R-Truth has been, I'm sorry, and you know this more than anybody, popularity is always a huge selling point. People have been behind Truth, not just because he's been with Miz, but because he's R-Truth, and everything that he has done with the Judgment Day at this point has made him hot. The fact that he literally got merch out and became like number one for that.
Yeah, but Lewis, but at the same time, they've been doing this feud long enough. Don't you think it would mean more for them to actually beat the Judgment Day in a tag team match?
That's what I'm saying.
Instead of winning in a ladder match at WrestleMania.
But that's what's in front of them, though. That's what's in front of them. If they would have gotten just a tag match against the Judgment Day, it probably would even be more meaningful because it'd be a like team versus team. But this is what's been put in front of them: a multi-man tag ladder match, and the hottest team is the Miz.
Dear WWE, do not, I repeat, do not put the tag titles on the Miz and R-Truth. We do not need it. We do not need a nostalgia moment from 10 years ago. We do.
They're going to be in the match, though.
I'm fine with them being in the match.
They're going to be in the match.
Are you telling me Truth doesn't deserve a title run?
No.
Legitimate title run?
He served his purpose. No. He's extended the Judgment Day's life.
He has gone above and beyond.
What are you talking about?
It's not like it's just a quick. It's not a quick, cheap laugh. He's actually getting support.
Lewis, he did have a legitimate title run. He's a 45-time, 24/7 champion.
Oh, don't do that.
They count.
Don't do that.
That's a legitimate title reign.
Don't do that.
For their website, that's a legitimate title reign.
You mean day title reigns really count?
Again, I understand it. I love R-Truth. I love when he was Ron Killings all the way back in TNA doing his thing. I love when he came back. I love R-Truth. But for the love of God, we cannot put the tag titles on the Miz in R-Truth. We cannot.
Why are you denying the ageless R-Truth a title run? Why he can have, he can have that moment, and then Monday they can lose titles too. Exactly. Why not?
Let's create some stars. Let's not rehash.
Let the Creed brothers
rehash Cold Fries.
Let the Creed brothers beat them on Monday.
Yeah, you mentioned Zack Ryder. Yeah, see, you just depressed me mentioning Zack Ryder. Little did Zack Ryder know.
I was actually really happy he won the IC title.
I was too, but little did he know that him winning the title was more about Pat getting hurt than him actually winning.
Who beat him the title that next night?
No, not Miz.
So this is again. So this is what you guys want. This is what you want, right? Really?
Hey, Miz is a babyface, and you said it wasn't going to work, and it did.
No, it didn't. No.
He's with our truth. It's great.
We're not doing this.
So you give me your pick, Dan. Who do you?
We don't know who's going to be
in? Huh?
Again, I'll take the Hurt business. I'll even take the Judgment Day retaining. I'll take that. But we cannot have Miz and R-Truth.
I mean, we'll have a more clear-cut idea when we see
Imperium. I'll take anybody else. I'll take Imperium. I'll take anybody else besides Miz and R-Truth. I'll take the field. When we make our picks, I'm taking the field. I'll take.
And you know what? When that day comes, we gotta make a bet. We gotta make an actual bet.
We cannot have the Miz walking around and R-Truth walking around as tag team champion.
Truth is ageless. The man is 52.
I mean, if you're not gonna go Miz and R-Truth, then you have to go DIY because, like I said, they've been telling this story with DIY and Miz and Truth against the Judgment Day for like.
You know why I don't think DIY will win it? Only because look where SummerSlam is. That's where they would win the titles.
Oh, Cleveland, yeah.
Who's from Cleveland?
Johnny Gargano.
He doesn't have to win it there. He can defend it there.
Although I think they're gonna
be more meaningful for him to win it there.
Yeah, but although I think they're gonna focus that show more around Logan Paul anyway.
Probably.
Oh crap! His Prime logo in the middle.
His Prime logo. Which by the way, I think people are overreacting about that, bro.
No. That does not need to happen. No, that does not.
You gotta change with the times, man. This is a new company. If UFC is doing it,
UFC has had brands everywhere for years.
He needs to change the logo. I don't want a bottle in the middle of the ring. The Budweiser sign for boxing was cool.
Come on, did you get into an argument? Did you get into an argument with someone on social media over this? And then they told you that the Prime logo was actually just there for heat. That's not how it's actually going to look.
If that bottle shows up on WrestleMania, like this is WrestleMania. I understand a local thing, like if it was SummerSlam. If it was SummerSlam in Cleveland and they put that logo there, cool. WrestleMania, come on, man. It's WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania. It's WrestleMania, man.
I mean, yeah, I get that, but even if you see it, is it going to take away from the matches that you watch?
Potentially.
I mean, look what they did at the Rumble with Slim Jim.
Oh,
yeah, but that was a separate story in of itself. that was a whole 24 hours.
I'm just saying, what's the difference between that and Logan Paul's thing? There's no difference.
How many people are eating Slim Jim? I always go back to that. How many people were eating Slim Jim? But yes, a big time ladder match at WrestleMania. Can't wait for that. Let's get into our next segment, which was another talking point during the week. Maxine Dupree saga. Maxine Dupree.
This whole interaction came out. I mean, the little breadcrumbs of Candice LeRae's heel turn were kind of sprinkled last week, but this just came out of left field. To me, at least, it felt like.
I'm just going to say this. This is the first question. This is the first question I'm going to ask. Is this necessary?
No, not at all.
For anybody involved.
They're trying. No, they're trying. That's what they're doing.
It's the wrong way to go about it.
I'm just going to say this. When Zoe Stark first came to Raw, wasn't she being a bully to Nikki Cross and other people? And who was the first person to come up and defend Nikki Cross and be like, "You can't bully people"? Was it Candice LeRae?
Maybe. I honestly don't remember. I thought it was Natalia. I thought it was Natalia.
Again,
it might have been Natalia. But Candice LeRae was also there too. She was also consoling her too. That's my issue with this whole thing. This person, no longer than what? A year ago was talking about don't bully people, and then she turns around and bullies somebody in the ring?
But there's the thing. In NXT, her towards the end, she was the poison pixie, and then they brought her in as as a baby face.
I don't remember her heel work.
She was heel in the way.
She was that heel group with Johnny. But Daniel, to kind of add to what you were saying, she had shown in recent weeks of her slowly turning, because her and Indy Hartwell weren't getting a women's tag team title match, and they were complaining about other women stepping up and getting opportunities before then, and that's kind of what built the frustration, I guess, leading into what she said to Maxine. So they have been slowly telling it. It's just that.
So the frustration. So wait. So just for logic purposes, because I'm big on logic. So the frustration is building towards Maxine Dupree and not Adam Pearce.
I think it was more so because Maxine's in the match, and then her trying to do that move, like the worm or whatever. Is like, yeah. So she's just like, I guess the frustration, like, this is what you're doing in the ring right now. So.
And didn't she mention
from
her
that
brother?
Standpoint, like, this is why you then wonder why people are booing you at house shows and this and this and that and giving you crap online. Well, we also feel the same way. But my thing is this. I don't know. This should have been
which by the way isn't true. That's the one point about it I didn't like.
It's not true. It is true.
It's not true that the women in the back feel the same way, because when she got booed at the live event for not doing too well, all of them came out and supported her on social media. So that's not exactly. So that's why I was just like,
it wasn't all of them. It was like 2 people. It was like
it was like 3 or 4 of them. But
it was like Rhea and one
Becky,
like
Rhea,
else. Yeah.
Zelina Vega. Like people were coming out. Bianca Belair came out.
I just don't understand that. Why is Candice LeRae doing this? Like, out of all people to bully somebody, we have Nia Jax on the roster.
Bigger and better things. She's not going to waste her time with an inexperienced girl that she can probably squash in 30 seconds.
But I think for me, just trying to get a logical standpoint, I think it's just to add another heel tag team, because I'm like right now thinking of like, look at the heel tag teams. I mean, you got the Kabuki Warriors, and are Shayna and Zoe Stark really heels? And then it's just like everybody else is kind of
that was just based upon who they were against, but they're kind of tweeners, yeah, like Daniel said.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like the fact that it was just done in the ring and then they closed in and then they heard what she said was just really bizarre to me, because I feel like this could have easily just been a backstage segment. Like, they bump into each other, clashing with each other. Oh, it's like, you really think you need a title shot? It's like, people, that could have easily been a backstage segment, but it was just out of place to me and super dumb mean, like, just against her to make her like quit and just like halfway through the match. It was just like, I don't know. It's just a weird setup. I didn't think they executed that right. So,
and I compared this to Lana when they were trying to get her over as a babyface, sympathetic babyface. Mm-hmm. And wasn't she like one of the last people in the Rumble or something like that? They were trying to get
it was Survivor Series. She was the sole survivor of her team, and yeah, she was on the apron the whole time.
They had her going through tables and shit like that. We do not need that. We are in 2024. The dumbass storylines with the women's division that I need to stop is that, hey, we were once friends and now we're not. Mm-hmm. Hey, and then this bully shit. Every time there's a bully somewhere, and then now we're going against each other. Look at Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley. Hey, we just don't like each other. You have something I want, and we're going to clash. That's it. Nia Jax, hey, you have that opportunity that I want. We're going to clash. That's all it needs to be. It doesn't have to be this exorbitant plan of bullshit with this bad booking. Like, this is bad booking. Like, we do not need this. We're so far advanced, especially with women's wrestling. We do not need this type of booking, this type of storyline.
What if they were? Sorry to cut you off. What if they were trying to, in a sense, try to acknowledge the fact that Maxine is so inexperienced, and they thought, well, let's make a story out of it then, to kind of acknowledge to the fans, like, we know you think that she sucks. But
nope. We have eyes.
We know you guys think that she sucks. So let's make a story of it to show you guys that she can be better.
or this leads to her running back to running to NXT basically.
honestly,
to me wouldn't be a bad idea.
This is a poor showing of Alpha Academy because where's the training that Chad Gable and Otis have been putting in with her for all this time?
I feel like that's another story.
Is this some Chase U type thing where it just looks bad? Like you guys are a scandal, you guys are a false school.
I don't even know that whole story, but it didn't even look appealing.
Honestly, they should make a story out of that now. Like, if you want to take it to the next level, you might as well have Candace call out Alpha Academy and be like, "Well, she said she was she's with you, Chad, and apparently you're supposed to be the best of the best. So, what does this mean about Alpha Academy? Like, you can make a little story about that."
DIY versus Alpha Academy.
But then who's the heel in that?
Chad Gable. He's been losing. He needs something. He lost. He lost his opportunity. He's pissed.
His shoulders were not down.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that.
Segue.
But yeah, in terms of Maxine Dupree, this doesn't need to be a thing. And if it is going to be a thing, book it correctly, please. Don't have this be dragged out and looking bad. Either have Maxine Dupree improve over time and look good overall and have better showings week to week, or this is going to be bad. And I don't want it to be bad.
It'd be one thing if she was, and I don't know why WWE like does these little experiments, and it's mostly, I feel like mostly with females, where it's just like you have somebody who's on screen that looks good, and they're like, all right, let's let them wrestle. And then when they're like, it's not working out, okay, we'll still give them time. And it's just like, you have a developmental system. You don't do any of this with the men. Why do you do it with the women? Just because people online, or you think she's hot or she's a good manager, but it's just like, you have so many women that could be managers, and it's just like, but these are also actual like people who have the experience. Let them be in those positions. Don't just be like, oh, look, this person's, has this type of background, but they're not a wrestling background, and let's just put them on TV. It's just like, you have a system in place that works. Why not go that route and stop doing these little experiments where it's just like, let them learn on the fly, So
just have that be a storyline. All right, Maxine, we're gonna go down to NXT Level Up or NXT this week, and we're gonna face XYZ. Here's a challenger on your level, and they wrestle. Like, that's all you need. You don't need all this extra shit. Like, it doesn't have to be gruesome, and it doesn't have to be that way. That's my biggest thing. It doesn't have to be that way. Yeah. But
I don't know where they're going with this story, but honestly, I think I don't know. I don't know if it does anything to the Alpha Academy, but I honestly think she just needs to go to it.
They don't
NXT. Like, look, I mean, you had it with Mandy Rose, and Mandy Rose, look what she did down in NXT. Had a great title run, had created a faction and was running things for like almost a whole year and everything. He's like, why not? Like I said, you have the system in place. Why are you deferring from it? But
WWE, don't do this. Let's move on. Let's move on to Cody Rhodes.
Maxine, please just improve. For the sake of everyone, just improve. That's all you have to do. Once you improve, everybody will get off of you, and then you can just go from there. Just improve, please.
Like we just saw this with Dana Brooke. Elegance by Ash or whatever.
Ash by Elegance.
Elegance by Ash, whatever it is.
Tony Storm 2.0. Mm-hmm.
Pretty much. Again, WWE, but just don't do it. But let's move on. Cody Rhodes, emotional promo on Raw. There with Michael Cole interviewing him about his chances at WrestleMania, the slap with The Rock. What do you guys think about that? Him crying in the ring. What do you guys think about that with Cody?
Lose. Let me go first. I'm gonna be short and sweet with my explanation. Simple forward. Great promo about Cody as always. I've just heard this shit like 30 times already now. At this point, we already know what needs to be accomplished. Let's just get to it at this point. Now everything has been set. We all know what it means. We all know all the shit that happened to get to this point. at this point now, if every Cody Rhodes promo segment is going to be like this, cool, because he cuts a great promo. But I'm not going to be as interested now because my mind is just on the WrestleMania match now, unless he's in the ring with Roman or The Rock. Okay, are we going to get into that? What happened on Friday? The next
we can. We can.
All right, now, I want to say because I just wanted to say something quick about the Rock.
But first, let me interject just with these promos and stuff like that. Just like you're saying, at this point, I feel so bad about the booking that it's like let's just get to WrestleMania because I'm just over all of this. Like Cody crying again. This guy was so over, and he's over because he's Cody Rhodes, and everybody wants him to finish the story. I understand that. Big Cody Rhodes fan. Wanted him to win the Rumble. Wanted him to do all that stuff. But ever since The Rock has been interjected into this, the booking of Cody Rhodes has just been, I don't know if they're emasculating him. Every situation when they bring up his pops, he's crying. He's like, this is my last chance. We get it, as Brian was saying, we get it from that point. He's bringing up his dog. Like, even the slap on SmackDown where he hesitated. When The Rock said what he said, it should have been an instant slap. It shouldn't have been, I'm looking around, oh, I'm disgusted, and then I slap you. Like, single thing about this has just been like, I get they're trying to put the odds against him, and I understand that, but it's just like the booking of him during all of this has just been like emasculating him. And I'm just like, I don't like it. I don't like it.
See, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't fully watch the whole thing from Friday. For me, the promo I think gave him more depth because
he's Cody Rhodes.
That's not what I'm saying.
How much more depth do you need?
For me, is because I feel like so many people have just been talking constantly so much about him, just because he said, "Finish the story." Now everybody keeps saying, "Finish the story, finish the story, finish the story." You're not going to finish the story. No, it's not your story. It's my story. It's his story. Like everybody has taken that ball and everybody's creating their own narrative. So I think he kind of took this. That's why he took this to talk about like, this isn't just my story. Yes, obviously this is the title I want to win, the one that my dad never won, and this and this and that. I want to be the first Rhodes to get a champion. And I get it. You know, it sucks that there's literally only like 3 more weeks till WrestleMania. You know, and it's just like they got to fill the time. But at the same time, you know, I think it gave depth because he's just like, at least when him talking about like, you know, I want to win the title. Yeah, I can't give it to my dad, but look at who I can get this for. My mom, my wife, my daughter, like all this and this and that. That's why I felt like with him crying wasn't like emasculating. It was just
you want to know where he should do that? You want to know where he should do that? Right before his match at WrestleMania 40 when they do the backstage promo. That's where he should cut that promo.
They don't do backstage promos usually at WrestleMania.
They need to.
They don't though.
No. This is a new company now, new initiative with the
backstage walk,
with the graphics and stuff. So
that's where that promo needs to be. Jim Kelly needs to be back there with Cody Rhodes going, what does this match mean to you, Cody Rhodes? And everything's on the line. That's when he needs to cut that promo right before he gets to the ring.
I don't know. For me, I don't know. Maybe because I'm, you know, I have a son and this and that. So maybe I'm a little more sappy.
Do it for the kids,
that family stuff.
That's what Lewis is saying.
Do
it for the kids.
No, do it for the youth.
The youths out there. The little Stardust is out there.
These youths, man.
I'm doing this for the youth.
Do it for them.
So yeah, I don't think it's. I mean, the only really big issue I've had with this whole thing was, and we've already gone over it too many damn times about him giving the spot to The Rock and then being like, "Hey, no, I'm not cool with that." That's probably my biggest gripe with this whole thing. And if we want to get into the whole Rock stuff a little bit, I don't know. The Rock is. I'm just gonna say this. The Rock I don't know, something about his trash talking this time around is just not clicking for me. The fact that he's literally called Seth Rollins You clown emoji, walking
like five times, right?
It's just like, dude, have you lost that edge on like talking shit to people because you can't think of something new?
Because it's 2003 material in 2024, and I've been saying that since The Rock has come back.
I know.
This trash talking. Go ahead, bro.
Cactus Crackhead was funny though. I'm sorry.
But you know what I think is crazy?
Grand scheme of things, yes.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is
he's 52.
No, but you know what's also crazy is that what you said is true. It's just like this man came from an era where he could literally just spit at the mouth, talk shit, no repercussions. And the position that he is now, he's trying to like maneuver where he's like, I can still be the old Rock, but I kind of have to censor myself in some certain ways because I am in these top spots, because I am top person in Hollywood. I can't be coming out here being like, you know, talking shit to women or whatever.
Why not? Why not?
See, that's actually not even been my biggest complaint about The Rock. My biggest complaint about The Rock is it's like, dude, you've been on TV for the last 2 or 3 weeks right now. All right. Your interests don't need to be as exuberant as they normally are now at this point, because lately, as a matter of fact, I think every show he's been on, according to reports, if they're right or not, but I think every show he's been on, there's been a time issue every single time, whether it's when he starts the show and he's going too long, and then you saw what you saw on Friday. He gets smacked by Cody, and they essentially immediately go off the air after because they took too damn long. Because
you smacked me.
It's like he comes out, stands, looks around for like 3 minutes, starts hitting his wrist to feel the goosebumps, walks to the ring, does this typical thing. Next thing you know, 7 minutes is gone by, and 7 minutes is gone by. He has the same
behavior. Very crackhead behavior from.
Are you calling The Rock a crackhead?
And I'm only saying that because then when stuff like that happens, then other things on the card get impacted. Like when he did that, when he kicked off the show, I think Naomi and Tiffany Stratton had a match next, and they couldn't show Naomi's entrance because he took up all the fucking time. Yeah. And then their match got cut short because of that too. And so like little things like that are sometimes kind of irritating. But
I don't know. The clown walking emoji. I can't. It's like cringy hearing that. Like you said it once, and then he said it last week in the promo, and then he says another in the video, and then now in front of him.
And this is where that's on SmackDown. I will say this: that's the best Seth Rollins has looked in this feud. Was him saying he has a midlife crisis. Like, yes, this is a midlife crisis for The Rock. Yes, it is. This is exactly what it is. Yes, you're right. Yes. But I did like the added element of The Rock actually acknowledging, hey, I'm the boss and stuff like that. That can be an element. I don't know how far that's going to go. I don't know if he's going to play I don't want to say it, Vince McMahon type character on television going forward in terms of stacking the deck and kissing my ass and doing all types of that shit. But I just again, I'm at this point where I'm with Brian. I was like, I've been talking to other people too. I'm like, I just want to get to WrestleMania. Like, I don't know what this stuff between this 3-week period is going to be. I don't know how you continue to build it, and especially on SmackDown. I'm like, he smacked him. There should have been some type of brawl.
Yeah,
that's another thing that I hated about it, Daniel. Right after the smack happened, all the security shit just ran into the ring. And got at least you went off the air with that. Well, at least like 20 seconds of everybody running into the ring.
I have a feeling they literally
he gets smacked. He's just standing there. And he looking at him. I'm like, dude, he just smacked the shit out of you. You ain't gonna do nothing. Like,
The Rock is gonna get physical at some point. He is.
They're gonna do it literally that SmackDown right before Mania, or literally over the 2 Fridays before. Like it's.
I need something. I need Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins facing Solo and Jimmy or something. I need some type of like brawl to happen. I need some type of lead up to this.
3 more weeks of talking is gonna get boring.
Yeah, like I need something. I need some type of matches. I need something happening. Something.
Yeah.
But let's get into the last match of the night. The Intercontinental Gauntlet match, which was great. for how we were concerned. Well, me and Lewis were concerned about the gauntlet matches, how they were going into it. But obviously started off with Ricochet and JD McDonough.
Yeah.
Had a great showing. I was impressed by both of those guys, and I'm like, I got to see a little bit more of JD on the main roster. We kind of got Ricochet a little bit with his matches and stuff like that, but to see JD in that type of light, different from NXT UK and NXT. So to see that on the main roster was good. They followed that up with Sammy coming out and beating. Did he beat JD?
No, it was Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed came out second.
Yeah, so
he splashed.
It was Bronson Reed. Yeah. It was Bronson Reed squashed. Was it JD?
Or no, was Bronson Reed beat Bronson.
Ricochet beat JD. Yeah, Bronson beat Ricochet.
Beat Ricochet. And then Sammy came out and beat everybody else. Yeah.
And then Sammy came out. Obviously, he beat Bronson Reed. And then Shinsuke came out and Bronson Reed splashed him. I thought that was like, oh, that should be the end of it. Like, that's a splash. That should be the end of Sammy, right? Nope. He battles through that, somehow beats Shinsuke Nakamura. Who, Chad Gable comes out, has another impressive showing. But overall, what do you guys think about this match? Did the right person win? There's controversy of the shoulders being down.
Yes.
What do you guys think about this overall?
All right. Now, see, you guys mentioned that. I don't even recall seeing that. I might have been like half asleep at the very end.
So when Sammy pulled, like he reversed the ankle lock, so he goes under. So Chad flips over in front, but instead of his both his shoulders being on the mat, it's just like his neck bent, so his shoulders are up. So because the ref is on the other side, kind of behind Sammy, he just goes 1, 2, 3. You can't really see Chad's. Now, I was watching somebody today who was talking about, I think how in this day and age of WWE, we're in this slow burn type thing. I think everybody gets to the point where they're like, oh, I want this person to be champ now or whatever. And it's just like, just because he didn't win doesn't mean that his story's over. Because, because look at what they've done.
That's usually the case. Huh? That's usually the case.
No, I know. But I mean, look at the story building they've done with Cody. Literally a year in the making, just for hopefully to see him win the title. Which is kind of what we all want at this point, but or not. I don't know. Everybody has their own opinions, but at least that's what I want. But I think we've all cheered on how good, and I feel like I hear multiple people say underrated is Chad Gable. I'm like, to me, he could easily be. I mean, yes, he is smaller in stature, but his crazy strength and wrestling ability should be highlighted way more. I think him being in the Alpha Academy kind of brings him down just because it is a comedy act. If we saw a more serious side and picking up more solo wins, it would make him more of a contender. But the fact that, he had his match against Gunther where everybody was kind of like, oh, maybe he can do it. But I think we were too close to him beating that title reign that it was like, yeah, it's not going to happen. Well, at least that's what I thought.
In the grand scheme, that was fine. Because it's like, okay, but he should get his match back.
Exactly. That's the thing. Yeah, exactly. And I honestly, the way I was looking at it, it's like, I get why Sammy won. He has been. I only get it because he's been having all these promos where he's been getting interviewed about his path to WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. I don't know where I'm going to do. I'm just going to keep pushing. I'm just going to keep fighting. He's been having those consistently every week. Chad Gable hasn't even been on TV every week. But yes, I think it was just more so of how we all know how good Chad is and the fact that he was in the Gauntlet match and the fact that he was the last person. We're like, oh shit, this could be his moment. But you already had kind of like Sammy the underdog beat 2 other people. He only has 1 to go. He's been talking about his road to WrestleMania.
He took a splash.
He basically had a John Cena match.
And then he turned around and beat a fresh Chad Gable.
Yeah.
I mean,
put the ankle lock on him like 3 times.
Daniel, to respond to that, you remember the night 1 of last year's WrestleMania and the tag team match? Did he not kick out of a 1D which nobody had kicked out of before?
That's
so
match.
I'm just saying.
He faced 3 fresh people in one night. It wasn't like the King of the Ring where you fight a tournament, the other person has a match, and then you guys make your way to the finals. That didn't happen. That's my only problem. And again, I understand Sammy's doing this thing, which I think he should turn heel at this point, because it's like you're having all these losses, you're having all these trials and transgressions, you keep getting screwed, all this other stuff. Kind of similar to Drew McIntyre, kind of how he was kind of putting it in his ear, like, hey, you're getting screwed over. Why you keep going against the grain? Just embrace it. But in general, it's just like, yo, like, I don't think Sammy, and I said this to somebody else, I'm like, Sammy had his moment last year. He had his moment last year. What is Chad? What do we put in Chad Gable? A tag team match or some type of crap match at WrestleMania? He should get that.
What I'm saying. He also hasn't been consistently been on TV this past like month.
What did we say? There's 3 weeks until WrestleMania.
You're trying to build stories in 3 weeks. Come on now.
WWE has done worse with less.
It's a new era. It's a new era. Like that's the only reason why it made sense that he won. I'm not saying I wanted Sammy to win. I was 100% rooting for Gable, but it also makes sense. And every time I saw those packages, I'm like, what are they going to give him? What are they going to put him in? And then once I saw that he was in the IC Gauntlet match, I'm like, damn, they're probably going to give it to him. And I was like, but maybe I'm like, hopeful. Maybe they'll give it to Chad. And
as we all said,
what happened. But I hope this whole, I don't know if they're going to play it, if that was something on purpose where, you got everybody like, oh, he wasn't really pinned. Are they going to bring it up on TV? I feel like if they do bring it on TV, then that's easily a clear-cut way to make it a triple threat. It was what I hoped for.
No, I mean, if you guys noticed it, man, they're probably definitely going to go in that direction, because I predicted that when they announced this match that they were going to be the last two, because they were the most realistic ones to come out on top, and they both have like a legitimate gripe to go after the Intercontinental Championship. One being an underdog, and the other one who had an opportunity and kind of had his own narrative going from it. So they both have legitimate claim. You almost want to see both of them going for it. So they probably are going to go in that direction. But as far as the match goes, I mean, I know gauntlet matches sometimes are kind of hard to get through, because they're kind of like war games in the sense of until everybody's in the ring or until you're down to the last two, you're really not as interested in it. Unless there's like a surprise upset or something of that nature. But the only real case you got of that was with Sammy and Bronson Reed, who by the way, I mean, I feel bad for this guy, man. I mean, when they re-signed him, I mean, the sky was supposed to be the limit. And then when they were in his home country in Elimination Chamber, he wasn't even on the card, which he did explain why he wasn't on the card, because it was a family matter, I think, or his child was being born, I think. Yeah. But at the same time, and obviously, as fathers, Lewis, obviously seeing our children being born, I mean, that's just a special experience in of itself. But still, when are they going back to Australia? So it's like that would have been perfect for him. It would have been a perfect. Yeah. I think initially the dirt sheets had said that had Seth not gotten hurt, that they were going to do Seth and Bronson Reed for the title at Elimination Chamber. So it's just like, damn, like all these opportunities, and now he loses out on this. I can only hope that they actually have a plan moving forward for Bronson Reed next year, because the guy is just a beast. Like, I remember seeing him live last year when I went to Monday Night Raw. I mean, to move the way that he moves at his size, it really is impressive when you actually watch it live. So you can only hope that they'll have something moving forward. But other than that,
him and Ivar should become a tag team.
I wouldn't be mad at that. They should become a tag team. And the only thing I got to say about I really hope that it does become a triple threat and this does become a part of the story, only because if they were to go this route, you could still have Gunther look strong and not get pinned, because you can have Sammy take the pin. Let's say Chad wins, but then you still have Gunther looking strong because he's not the one taking the pin. But that's just my fantasy booking. So
something definitely should happen there with that. And I just feel like Chad Gable, He's earned it, man. Like, especially last year after that emotion and stuff like that, and he lost in his hometown. He lost in front of his daughter. It's like the story's there already. Yeah. And as I said, when guys drop titles, it should create a star. It should create that next evolution of the title carrying on. And I feel like with Sammy, it's like you're already main evented. You already had a mid-card title. You already had a tag team title match at WrestleMania last year. So do you need it? And that's where I'm component at it. Is just like I just wanted to create new stars and somebody that deserves it. And Chad Gable has been awesome for a long time. It would have been nice. So we'll see what happens with that. See if they addressed the shoulders being up on the mat for Chad Gable. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Moving on to other Raw notes. Damian Priest getting his hands on R-Truth. R-Truth was supposed to not even be on the show. Was supposed to be at a photo shoot or some type of media with The Miz. The Miz wasn't there. Damian Priest and the Judgment Day basically just beating up R-Truth and Damian Priest. I don't know where this is going. I hope it doesn't lead to a tag team title run for those two.
Title run.
Let's not. Moving on, we got the Kabuki Warriors defeating Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Who's going to challenge for these tag titles? Who's going to challenge? It's going to be Bianca.
I already said it. Bianca and Jade need to win it.
We don't know what's happening with Jade.
I know.
You don't know what's happening.
Not even on TV.
She has confronted Damage Control.
So more specifically,
yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. Finally, I wanted to talk about this. Jey Uso challenging Jimmy Uso at WrestleMania 40. What do you guys think about that? Brother versus brother. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I kind of complained. I kind of complained in the chat that after Jimmy cost him the Intercontinental title, I felt like that very next week he should have called Jimmy out because he cost him the title and then he whooped his ass after too. and then he picked him up and he told him, pretty much telling him like, as long as I'm here, as long as I'm around, you ain't never gonna accomplish shit. You ain't never gonna get nothing. You ain't never gonna win no titles or no nothing as long as I'm around. So I thought storyline wise it would make sense to say, hey, I can't move on with my career and do what I need to do until I take care of my damn brother. And I think what they ended up doing was that he had a backstage promo where he didn't really allude to Jimmy. He alluded to family business, and then Drew came up and then challenged him for what we saw last week. Challenged him like what we saw last week on Raw. But I just wish he would have called him. He would have called him out sooner after that initial attack. And when he called him out, I mean. It was pretty straightforward, but I'd like to think that because it's the first time that like he was actually addressing his brother to challenge him to a match that could have been more meaningful, and I'm assuming they didn't do that because in the coming weeks that's where we're going to get those real promos about them being brothers and them growing up and being a tag team to where they are now, because I think Jay had said in a podcast or the Dirt Sheets or whatever that. Moving forward in this feud, all these promos are going to be 100% real based upon their experiences and everything. So, forward to that.
I just didn't. I mean, I kind of had a feeling this match was going to come up at some point. I just don't like how it's just like Jay just going out and be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fight. How about I challenge my brother WrestleMania?" It was just like, why don't you do this how you do everything where. Should have just gave Jay a match on SmackDown. Jimmy should have had a match on SmackDown. Jay comes over, costs him the match, brawl out.
This is the issue
and when just you don't like have... somebody call. You know what?
This is the issue. This is the issue when you don't have tag titles that are split. This is the issue when you don't have a person that's on the show every week as the mid-card title holder. This is the problem when the person who is champion is in your faction. So those are the main points, right? Because the natural thing would be for Jay to cost Jimmy something, right? Something of value and meaning, embarrass him in front of Roman Reigns, in front of the Bloodline. That would be a nice storyline, but we don't know if we're going to get that. So,
even if it was just a match, even if like Jimmy was just having a match against whoever, like Austin Theory or sorry, I'm trying to think of a heel. I mean, of a baby face, or like Randy Orton or something or whatever, it should have been like, yo, let me get mines back because you cost me the IC title, and it should have just been like an all-out brawl and then be like, you know what?
It's what we've been saying. It's what we've been saying. There needs to be stakes. There needs to be stakes.
It's just weird. Like I've never seen
sense because Jay has been cost everything. The title, the WWF, the WWE title.
It's like the fact that he just came out and like, how about we do this, brother, and like that was it, and then he just starts dancing, and I'm like,
just so you think it should have been like a more serious challenge, and he kind of made it like too funny,
like they should have
interactive and stuff.
Yeah, like it should have been like kind of like how KO would like when whoever the hell he was feuding with would just like come out and start brawling, or like we've seen it plenty of times. Somebody comes out to the other shores, just starts brawling, and then like security has to separate them and blah blah blah, and then it's just like. You know what?
So you just want chaos, Lewis. That's what you're saying. You just want some type of chaos.
For their story. For their story, you tell me is not needed. Literally,
it should have happened.
Like you just said, from the Rumble. Everything that Jimmy has cost Jay, you're telling me he shouldn't have been in more of a rage instead of just walking out and be like, "How about a challenge, my brother?"
The thing is that I think now that he's the bloodline storyline he's kind of pulled back into it, he should do something to embarrass Jimmy in front of Roman and Rock. That should be it. And then Roman and Rock be like, yo, you handle Jay, because he's been out of his pocket for a while now. That should be the way they do it, but who knows how they do it.
Yeah, I just realized something, because I know we're gonna make our predictions, but night 2, that main event, because I'm assuming that Rock and Roman are going over night 1. That night 2 main event, it's gonna be, if it is bloodline rules, anything goes. There's gonna be so many fucking run-ins, man. Tying into the bloodline. You got Jay going after Jimmy. Seth is gonna get involved. Sammy might get involved.
WCW.
There's the chaos.
WCW all over again. 50 run-ins.
So many people.
Dominic coming out. Randy coming out.
Brandy Rhodes is going to come out with a chair and hit Roman. And
yeah, then
DDP's going to come out.
Starks is going to come out making a big debut.
DDP's going to come out. Diamond Cutter. like they're I don't know how they're going to book it. That's the one thing, because their first match I went and watched a couple weeks ago. And I'm like, this is a good match.
Yeah.
And then all the shit happened where it's like Solo comes after Solo got kicked out. He comes back out. It's like with The Rock, Jimmy, Jay,
Rikishi might come out, help, and be like, I still did it for The Rock.
I did it for The Rock.
I was actually watching that. Stone Cold versus Rikishi. But just in general, just like who's gonna come out on Cody's side? I'm like the dream scenario would be Dustin Rhodes coming out to help him. That would be the dream scenario.
Yeah.
You and your brother, like your brother helped you win the title, like that would be dope. But I don't know his AEW situation and how that works.
He's pretty much locked in over there. He ain't going. He's locked in over there. Yeah.
But just interesting to see where that's going to go. Heading into WrestleMania, interesting to see what's going to happen with AEW. Mercedes Moné, debuting over there. Okada, the Rainmaker, he's having matches. He's wrestled Collision, I believe. He's wrestled Dynamite tonight. Going to be interesting. Huh?
Don't overexpose him.
How can they overexpose one of the best wrestlers in the world?
I'm just saying. You still kind of gotta like protect his mystique in the sense, don't you? Same thing with Ospreay.
Okay, I see what you're saying. But I want to see him wrestle.
You want to see them wrestle every week. But the one thing about them that stands out is how great they are in ring. And if you showcase that like week after week after week, and you already know with AEW, like every match the wrestlers go into these matches and they do them like pay-per-view matches, doing all their special shit week after week after week. So you run the risk of them losing what makes them special.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I just want him to do well. I just want Okada.
Where the hell is Kota Ibushi?
I think he's injured. I think he's hurt. He's another. I forgot. I totally forgot. Yeah, he's with them too. Shit.
See,
somebody just tore. Was it Cora Jade who tore her ACL on NXT?
Yep.
Like all these people are injured. I'm just like, damn.
Nikita Lyons got hurt again, which sucks.
Like, yeah, she did too. She did too.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
She just came back.
I'm hit.
Same thing. They didn't say what it was though, right?
I think it was either a knee or something, but
damn.
People not drinking enough milk, man. People don't drink milk no
more. It's all that oat milk.
I was about to say something, but I can't say it because of Jada Parker and Lola Vice. I was gonna say, damn, you can't carrying around that junk in the trunk. Must be weak on the bike. but the other two are, and Gigi Dolan. So I can't.
Nikki Lyons is a little more thicker though. She's thicker.
Mm-hmm.
She's thicker, and the moveset that she has is a little bit more complex, I should say. But it's like I don't know. But yeah, just all these injuries are just like, damn. Get healthy, damn.
Yeah.
But shit, man. That would do it for this. Huh?
So them tweaking the knees and tearing ACLs and shit.
No, like it's just crazy because like on NXT we talked about it. Like how many women had torn ACLs? Like it was like 5. Like it's like a graveyard for ACLs.
Tegan Knox, Dakota Kai, freaking
Nikki Lyons.
Bailey tore her ACL at one point, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. Like everybody tore his ACL. I'm like, God damn. But shit, that will do it for this episode 54. We'll see what happens with AEW and their new stars in transition there with their roster. We'll see what happens on this road to WrestleMania as we continue with that. But thank you guys for joining me as always, and until next time. What?